The cameras were rolling, but nobody expected this. Just when the love and hip-hop circle thought things couldn't possibly get more chaotic, a shocking revelation sent fans into a frenzy. A leaked DNA test claiming that Jasmine's baby belongs to none other than Kirk Frost. Yes, you heard that right. Once again, Kirk's name is tied to paternity drama, and this time the receipts look explosive. Social media ignited within minutes of the leak, with hashtags like #KirkDNA and #JasmineBaby trending worldwide. Fans are shocked, divided, and demanding answers. While whispers of betrayal ripple through every corner of Atlanta's entertainment scene, imagine the tension as screenshots of the supposed test results began circulating. Jasmine, often painted as both villain and victim, found herself in the eye of the storm yet again. Did she know? Was she keeping this secret to herself? Or was this part of a calculated move to finally expose Kirk once and for all? The Frost household was already hanging by a thread, and with Rashida watching these rumors spread in real time, emotions ran higher than ever. Kirk's silence only added fuel to the fire. Fans are already speculating. If the documents are real, how many more secrets has he kept hidden? And if they're fake, who is behind this devastating smear campaign? The drama didn't stop online. Phones buzzed, group chats exploded, and cast members scrambled to pick sides. This changes everything, one insider claimed, while another warned that the leak was only the beginning of a much bigger storm. Family, loyalty, and reputation were suddenly on the line. In a world where trust is already scarce, the leak tore open old wounds and left everyone asking the same burning question: is Kirk Frost once again at the center of a scandal that could break his family apart? Stay tuned, because this story is only just beginning. The night was heavy with tension as the rumors of the DNA leak spread like wildfire across Atlanta. Everyone was whispering, everyone was scrolling, and everyone was waiting for one single confirmation. Was Kirk Frost really the father again? Jasmine had been quiet, but her silence was louder than any press conference. Fans were already piecing together timelines, digging through old episodes, and rewatching interviews to find any tiny clue that might confirm what the leaked papers seemed to scream. The Frost family name was once again dangling over the edge of disaster, and the whispers were turning into shouts. Rashida sat in her boutique, phone in hand, her face pale as the messages flooded in. Screenshots of the test, comments tagging her, fans demanding answers. Her employees pretended not to notice, but the atmosphere was tense. Her phone buzzed again and again, until finally she slammed it down on the counter. Why does it always have to be Kirk? She muttered under her breath, her voice trembling with both anger and exhaustion. Meanwhile, Kirk was nowhere to be found. Insiders said he had turned his phone off, avoiding calls from producers, castmates, and even his closest friends. Some said he was hiding out in his studio, while others believed he had left town altogether. But no one could deny that his silence was fueling the storm. Every minute without a statement made the leak seem more real. Jasmine, on the other hand, was spotted late at night leaving a quiet restaurant with two of her closest friends. Paparazzi cameras flashed, and for a split second, her expression betrayed the calm front she was trying to keep. Her lips pressed tight, her eyes darting, and her hand clutching her phone as if she was guarding the biggest secret of her life. Fans dissected every frame of the footage, pointing out her nervous glances and whispering, "She knows." The cast was just as divided as the fans. Carly Red wasted no time jumping on Instagram Live, her voice filled with mockery and shock. "I told y'all, didn't I? I told y'all, Kirk never learned his lesson. If this DNA is true, Lord Rashida better pack her bags tonight." Her words caught fire online, sparking a wave of reactions, while others accused her of stirring the pot just for attention. Yandi, though not directly involved, couldn't resist weighing in either. She posted a cryptic story with the words "Truth always finds a way out," and fans instantly connected it to the DNA leak. The comment sections exploded, tagging Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine, demanding that someone finally come clean. Back in the Frost household, the air was thick. Rashida paced the living room, waiting for Kirk to walk through the door. Her emotions swung violently between disbelief, fury, and heartbreak. After everything we've been through, after all the humiliation, after the public forgiving, after the counseling, is this really happening again? She whispered to herself, almost too afraid of the answer. When Kirk finally appeared late in the night, the confrontation erupted immediately. The door barely shut before Rashida's voice cut through the silence. "Where have you been? Do you have any idea what's going on? Or do you just not care?" Kirk sighed heavily, running a hand down his face, but said nothing at first. That silence broke her. "Don't you dare stand there and say nothing while the entire world is dragging me into your mess again." Finally, Kirk spoke, his voice low but firm. "I didn't do this. I don't know how those papers got out. I don't even know if they're real." His words were supposed to reassure her, but instead they left her shaking her head in disbelief. "You don't know if they're real? Kirk, how is that even possible? What have you been doing behind my back? What are you hiding this time?" Emotions ran high as Rashida's voice cracked, her anger laced with pain. "Do you understand what this is doing to me? To our kids? To our business? We've built everything together. And every time I think we're safe, another secret explodes. I can't keep living like this." Kirk tried to reach for her hand, but she pulled away, her tears finally falling. The next morning, the story had only grown. Blogs were posting updates every hour. Interviews from so-called insiders were surfacing. And fans were digging up old footage of Kirk and Jasmine to prove that the timeline matched. Some even claimed that the leak came directly from someone close to Jasmine, hinting that she had been planning this reveal for months. Jasmine herself finally broke her silence with a vague post. A black screen with the words "truth doesn't need defending." Within minutes, the post had tens of thousands of comments, with fans split between calling her brave and accusing her of destroying another woman's marriage. Mama D, never one to hold her tongue, added fuel to the fire by sharing an old photo of Kirk and Jasmine with the caption, "Some people never change." The post was quickly deleted, but not before screenshots spread across every corner of social media. The pressure was unbearable for Rashida. Her friends called. Her family begged her to step away from the cameras, but she knew she couldn't hide. The producers of the show were already demanding a sit-down with her, Kirk, and Jasmine to address the scandal on camera. "This is what they want," Rashida told her sister. "They want me broken, crying, humiliated again. And I don't know if I have the strength this time." The day of the meeting arrived, and tensions were already at their peak. Kirk walked in first, his face heavy, his steps slow. Jasmine followed soon after, her head held high but her hands fidgeting nervously. Then Rashida entered, and the room froze. Her presence was icy, her eyes sharp, and everyone could feel that the storm was about to hit. The producers barely had to ask a question before the arguments exploded. "Did you leak those papers, Jasmine?" Rashida demanded, her voice trembling with controlled rage. Jasmine fired back. "Don't put this on me. The papers speak for themselves. You've been defending a man who keeps lying to you, and the world is tired of watching it." Kirk tried to intervene, his voice cracking as he said, "I swear I didn't know about this. Jasmine, if you really believe this is true, show the original test. Don't hide behind screenshots and leaks." The tension spiked as everyone leaned in, waiting for Jasmine's response. Her eyes darted across the room, then back to her phone. "The truth is already out there," she whispered, her voice barely audible but filled with weight. Fans who later watched the clip said that moment sealed it for them. Some believed her silence confirmed the scandal, while others saw it as proof she was bluffing. Outside the studio, chaos erupted. Fans gathered with posters, shouting at Kirk and Jasmine, demanding answers, while others screamed support for Rashida. The scene looked less like a support for Rashida. The scene looked less like a reality TV taping and more like a courtroom showdown. The family was left divided. One witness said, "You could feel the heartbreak in the air. It wasn't just a show anymore. It was real pain." And still, the biggest question remained unanswered. Were the leaked DNA results authentic? Or were they part of a larger plan to finally shatter the Frost family once and for all? The room was still vibrating with tension after Jasmine's cryptic words. Kirk sat stiffly, his jaw locked, staring at her like he was trying to read her mind. Rashida's breathing was heavy, her chest rising and falling as if every inhale was a battle. The producers exchanged looks, but said nothing, knowing the cameras were capturing gold. Yet behind the glimmer of TV drama was a very real family fracture unraveling right before their eyes. "Truth doesn't need defending." Rashida's voice finally cracked through the silence. "That's what you said online, Jasmine. But if you really had the truth, why leak it like a thief in the night? Why not stand up and say it with your chest?" Her words hit hard, sharp as a blade. Jasmine clenched her jaw, her fingers gripping the edge of the table. "You think I wanted it this way? You think I wanted more humiliation? More people tearing apart my life? I didn't leak those papers, but the fact they're out there now means somebody wanted the world to know. And maybe the world deserves to know what you've been covering up." Kirk slammed his fist on the table, startling everyone. "Enough. Stop acting like you're the victim, Jasmine. If this was about the truth, you would have told me directly. You would have come to me, not the internet. You wanted drama. You wanted chaos." His voice thundered across the room, but behind the rage was a flicker of fear. Rashida turned on him immediately. Don't you dare flip this like she's the only one guilty. What have you been doing behind my back, Kirk? How many more lies have you buried under that calm face of yours? You always say you're different now, but every time something like this comes up, I'm the one left holding the shame. The words cut deep, and Kirk's silence spoke louder than denial. The cameras zoomed in on his expression, catching the beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Outside the studio, social media was exploding. Fans lived tweeting the leaks, guessing who was telling the truth, and creating polls. Do you believe Jasmine's baby is Kirk's? Yes or no? Within minutes, the poll hit hundreds of thousands of votes, with results swinging wildly back and forth. Comments flooded in. Fans are shocked. This family is cursed. Rashida deserves better. Kirk never changes. The digital court of public opinion was holding its own trial. Back inside, the arguments twisted into personal accusations. Jasmine shot back at Kirk. You want to talk about truth? Remember that night 2 years ago? The night you said you were in the studio late. Should I remind you who you were really with? The entire room gasped, the crew whispering frantically, while Kirk's eyes widened in panic. Don't you dare, Kirk hissed, his voice low, almost pleading. But Jasmine's smirk said everything. Rashida froze, her voice trembling as she turned to her husband. What night is she talking about, Kirk? He stammered, fumbling for words. It's nothing. She's lying. She's making stuff up to make me look guilty. But his eyes wouldn't meet hers, and that was enough to send Rashida spiraling. You're lying to me again, she whispered, her face crumbling as tears welled up. How many times do I have to sit in front of the world and be humiliated? How many times do I have to forgive you before you finally respect me? Her voice cracked, raw and unfiltered. The producers tried to calm the storm, but it was useless. Emotions ran high, accusations piled on, and the line between reality and spectacle blurred until it was impossible to tell if this was still a show or just broken lives being broadcast for millions. As the cameras cut for a break, Rashida stormed out, her heels clicking hard against the floor, each step echoing her rage. Kirk tried to follow, but Jasmine blocked his path. You think you can run from this, Kirk? You think if you keep your mouth shut, it'll all just disappear? No. This time, you're going to face it. The DNA doesn't lie. The words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Kirk's face twisted, his voice barely above a whisper. You don't know what you've started. Meanwhile, fans outside chanted louder. We want answers. We want the truth. Camera crews captured every second as security tried to keep the crowd under control. Some fans waved posters reading Team Rashida while others shouted Team Jasmine. The family was left divided, but so were the fans, each side ready to defend their chosen queen. Later that night, Rashida locked herself in her bedroom, ignoring calls, ignoring texts. She stared at the ceiling, her mind replaying every betrayal, every apology, every false promise. Her heart ached, but her pride screamed louder. She whispered to herself, maybe this is the end. But for Kirk, the night was even darker. He sat alone in his car, outside the studio, scrolling through the leaked papers on his phone. The names, the dates, the percentages, it all looked damning. And though he muttered to himself, it can't be real, it can't be real, the doubt was already eating him alive. By morning, new reports surfaced. Bloggers claimed they had spoken to the clinic where the DNA test was conducted. One anonymous source swore the papers were authentic, while another hinted at tampering. The contradictions only deepened the chaos. In the midst of the storm, Jasmine doubled down. She posted another message online. You can only hide from the truth for so long. Receipts don't lie. Fans flooded the comments, begging her to drop the full report. Show us the papers, they demanded. Hashtags like hashtag DNA drop and hashtag FrostFiles trended all day. Rashida's closest friends rallied to her defense. Toya posted a message of support, saying, no woman should have to endure this kind of pain on repeat. Stand strong, sis. Meanwhile, Mimi Faust added her own 2 cents, cryptically tweeting, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. The support was there, but it also reminded the world just how often Kirk's name had been tied to scandal. The pressure mounted until producers set up a second sit-down, this time demanding that Jasmine bring the original DNA results. Kirk agreed reluctantly, knowing his entire reputation was on the line. Rashida hesitated, torn between protecting her dignity and facing the truth head-on. Finally, she whispered to herself, if I don't do this now, I'll never know peace. When the day came, the tension in the studio was unbearable. Jasmine walked in with a sealed envelope in her hand. The cameras zoomed in, the world holding its breath. Rashida sat with her arms crossed, her face stone cold, while Kirk shifted uncomfortably, sweat beading on his forehead. Jasmine placed the envelope on the table, her eyes locked on Kirk. Here it is. The proof you've all been waiting for. The producers leaned in, sliding the envelope open, pulling out the papers as the cameras caught every detail. The room went silent. The fans outside screamed louder, and Rashida gripped the edge of her chair as if bracing for impact. The words on the page were clear, bold, and merciless. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. Rashida gasped, her hand flying to her mouth as tears streamed down her face. Kirk dropped his head into his hands, his shoulders shaking, while Jasmine simply leaned back, her expression unreadable. And in that single moment, the entire Frost legacy shattered. Rashida's sobs echoed through the studio as the papers slipped from the producer's hand and scattered across the table. The camera caught everything, every tear, every tremble in her voice, every crack in her armor that she had built for years. Fans watching behind the scenes on leaked live footage could hardly believe what they were seeing. It's true, one whispered into their phone on a shaky Instagram live. The papers say 99%. It's Kirk again. Kirk sat frozen, his face buried in his hands, his mind a storm of excuses he couldn't form into words. The silence stretched so long it became unbearable. Finally, Rashida snapped, her voice rising with all the fury she had kept bottled up. How many times do you plan to destroy me? How many times are you going to humiliate me in front of the world? Do you enjoy watching me fall apart? Kirk tried to speak, but no words came out. He looked at Jasmine, his eyes burning with a mix of anger and despair. You did this on purpose. You wanted to ruin everything I have left. Jasmine's response was calm but cutting, her words slicing through the cameras chased them down the hallway, capturing every second of the heated confrontation. Don't touch me, Rashida yelled as Kirk tried to grab her arm. You've made a fool out of me for the last time. Please Rashida, let me explain. Kirk begged, his voice cracking. This isn't what it looks like. She spun around, her eyes blazing with fire. What it looks like? It looks like you fathered another child behind my back. It looks like every rumor, every whisper, every warning I ignored was the truth. What else am I supposed to think? Her words trembled, but her stance was unshakable. Fans who had gathered outside the studio erupted in chants as soon as Rashida appeared, tears streaming down her face. We love you, Rashida. Leave him. You deserve better. The noise was deafening, the air electric with outrage and heartbreak. Paparazzi flashes blinded her as she pushed past, her bodyguards struggling to hold the crowd back. Back inside, Jasmine stayed seated, her expression unreadable. But as soon as the cameras shifted away, her mask slipped for a moment. Her lips trembled, her eyes glistened, and she whispered under her breath, "This wasn't how I wanted it." No one heard her except the sound technician sitting nearby, who later leaked the audio clip online, sparking a whole new round of speculation. Was Jasmine playing victim again? Or was she genuinely broken by the chaos? The storyline took a darker turn later that night when Rashida went live on her own Instagram, her voice raw and shaky. I've been through a lot in my life. I've forgiven more than I should have. I've fought to keep my family together when everyone told me to walk away. But right now, I don't know if I can fight anymore. Right now, I feel like I've lost myself. The live broke records, with tens of thousands tuning in within minutes, flooding the comments with support and anger directed at Kirk. Celebrities weighed in too. Michelle commented, "He never deserved you, sis," while Spice wrote, "Sometimes letting go is the only way to find peace." The fan base exploded, dividing into armies, Team Rashida, Team Jasmine, and a much smaller group still defending Kirk. Meanwhile, Kirk stayed silent, avoiding social media altogether. Insiders claimed he was holed up in a hotel room, refusing to see anyone except his lawyer. Some even whispered that he was planning to sue whoever leaked the DNA test, claiming it was tampered with. But those same insiders admitted he looked defeated, like a man carrying the weight of 1,000 regrets. Jasmine, however, stepped back into the spotlight. She appeared at a club the following weekend, her friends filming her dancing and laughing as if nothing had happened. The video spread like wildfire, with fans outraged at her carefree attitude while Rashida was clearly broken. "This is disgusting," one fan tweeted. "She doesn't care about the pain she's caused." Others defended her, saying, "She's just living her truth. Why should she hide?" The producers of Love and Hip Hop saw dollar signs in the chaos. They arranged for another sit-down, this time including more cast members, hoping to stir the pot further. When Rashida arrived, her face was calm but cold, like ice ready to crack. Jasmine smirked, and Kirk avoided everyone's gaze. Carly Red wasted no time stirring the pot. "So, Kirk, when are you going to admit the truth? Or are you gonna sit there and let Jasmine do all the talking for you? Kirk shot her a glare, his voice sharp. Stay out of my business, Carly. But she only laughed, tossing her hair. Your business is everybody's business now, Kirk. Emotions ran high as the accusations flew across the table. Mimi chimed in, siding with Rashida, her voice firm. I've been there. I know what it feels like to be humiliated. And Kirk, you've been doing this for years. At some point, a woman's gotta choose herself. Rashida's lip trembled as she listened, her pride warring with her heartbreak. Maybe that time is now, she whispered, almost to herself, but the microphone caught it. Fans replayed the clip endlessly, dissecting her tone, debating if she was finally ready to walk away. As the hours dragged on, Kirk finally snapped. You think I'm proud of this? You think I wanted this to happen? I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. But I don't deserve to be crucified like this. His voice rose, tears brimming in his eyes for the first time. But instead of sympathy, his outburst only fueled more anger. Rashida stood again, her voice steady now, stronger. You don't get to play the victim, Kirk. Not this time. Not after everything. I gave you my loyalty, my forgiveness, my soul. And what did you give me? Humiliation, betrayal, pain. I won't let you drag me down with you anymore. The studio erupted in chaos. Cast members gasped, fans outside screamed louder, and the producers leaned in, knowing they had just captured a historic moment. Rashida's words marked a turning point, a shift in the balance of power. And just when everyone thought the drama had peaked, another twist surfaced. A mysterious Twitter account began posting alleged text messages between Kirk and an unnamed woman, suggesting that Jasmine might not be the only one tied to him. This goes deeper than you think, the account teased, promising to drop more receipts soon. Fans lost their minds. Was Kirk hiding yet another secret? Was Jasmine just the tip of the iceberg? Or was someone out there manipulating the situation to destroy him completely? The speculation spun out of control, each theory wilder than the last. Rashida watched the chaos unfold from the quiet of her home, her phone buzzing nonstop. She whispered to herself, maybe I don't even know the man I married. And as Atlanta buzzed with rumors, heartbreak, and betrayal, one truth became clear. The Frost family would never be the same again. The night in Atlanta felt heavy as the mysterious Twitter account kept dropping one bomb after another. Screenshots of late-night messages, allegedly between Kirk and another woman, appeared on the timeline, each one more damning than the last. The account had thousands of followers within hours, fans refreshing their feeds every second, desperate to see the next piece of evidence. This isn't just about Jasmine, one tweet read. The Frost legacy is about to crumble completely. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided all over again. Rashida sat on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, scrolling through the posts in disbelief. Her chest tightened with every message she read, her mind spinning. The words looked like Kirk's tone, his style, even his favorite slang. She wanted to believe it was fake, doctored, but the pit in her stomach told her otherwise. How much more do I not know? She whispered into the darkness, tears streaking her cheeks. In another part of the city, Kirk was pacing inside his hotel room, his lawyer sitting across from him with a laptop open. We have to figure out where these are coming from, the lawyer muttered, scrolling through the account. If they're fake, we can file a case. But if they're real, his voice trailed off. Kirk slammed his fist against the wall. They're not real. They can't be. I didn't do this. I didn't. His voice shook, the denial sounding more like desperation. Meanwhile, Jasmine was quiet, refusing to post anything after the DNA reveal. But fans were convinced she had something to do with the leaks, accusing her of being behind the account. Her comments filled with fire emojis, snakes, and endless demands for answers. One fan wrote, Jasmine always playing games. She's behind this for sure. While another argued, nah, this is too big. This has to be someone else close to Kirk. The division fueled the chaos, and social media became a battlefield. The producers saw the opportunity and immediately called for another taping. This time, they wanted Kirk, Rashida, Jasmine, and a few more cast members to confront the Twitter scandal on camera. The stakes had never been higher, and everyone knew millions of eyes were waiting for that showdown. The day of filming arrived. The studio was charged with electricity. Fans gathered outside, holding signs, paparazzi fighting for the best shots. Inside, Rashida walked in first, dressed in black, her face stone cold. Jasmine followed, her hair perfectly styled but her eyes heavy with tension. Then Kirk entered, his shoulders hunched, his eyes scanning the room like a man walking into a courtroom. The producers wasted no time. They pulled up the tweets on a large screen, the messages glowing in bold letters for everyone to see. Baby, I miss you. One read. Another, don't tell nobody about us. You know how these cameras be. And then the one that shattered the last sliver of hope Rashida had left. Jasmine ain't the only one who knows what we do when the lights off. The room erupted. Cast members gasped, hands flying to mouths, whispers spreading like fire. Rashida stared at the screen, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. She turned slowly toward Kirk, her voice breaking. Tell me this. Slowly toward Kirk, her voice breaking. Tell me this. Isn't you? Tell me this isn't real. Kirk stammered, sweat dripping down his temples. It's fake, Rashida. I swear it's fake. Somebody's out to get me. But Jasmine leaned forward, her tone sharp. That's your voice, Kirk. Those are your words. Don't play dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. Kirk shot back, his voice rising. You've wanted to see me fall since the beginning. You'll say anything to make me look like the villain. Rashida's tears spilled freely now. I don't need anybody to make you look like the villain. You've done that all by yourself. Her words cut like glass, her pain raw and undeniable. Outside, fans watching live through leaks lost their minds. Rashida finally said it. One tweeted, she's done with him. Another screamed. Hashtags like hashtag team, RASHEEDA, hashtag cancel Kirk, and hashtag DNA scandal trended worldwide. As the taping continued, the tension only grew. Mimi chimed in, her voice dripping with disdain. Kirk, you've been caught too many times. How many more receipts does Rashida need before she sees the truth? Carly Red added her own fire. This ain't even shocking anymore. Kirk being messy is like the sun rising. The only shocking part is how Rashida keeps taking him back. The words stung Rashida, who shot Carly a sharp look, but deep down, she knew the world was echoing the same thought. Kirk exploded, slamming the table so hard the glasses shook. Enough, I've said I didn't do it. Y'all just want to see me burn? But I won't let you destroy me. His voice cracked, his eyes bloodshot, his body trembling with rage and fear. Jasmine smirked, leaning back in her chair. You already destroyed yourself, Kirk. The DNA, the texts, the lies. The truth is out, and the world is watching. The confrontation spiraled until producers had to cut. Security stepping in as Rashida stormed out once again, her cries echoing down the hallway. Kirk chased after her, begging, pleading, while Jasmine sat quietly, her smirk fading into something darker, almost regretful. But the drama didn't stop when the cameras did. Later that night, the mysterious Twitter account dropped one final bomb. A blurry photo of Kirk in what looked like a hotel room with a woman whose face was half hidden. The caption read, "Receipts don't lie. Stay tuned for the full drop." The internet exploded. Blogs posted the picture within minutes. Fans dissected every pixel, zooming in to match tattoos, clothing, and even furniture patterns. That's definitely Kirk's chain, one fan wrote. Another insisted, that's not him, it's photoshopped. The debate raged on, but the damage was done. Rashida's world collapsed. She disappeared from social media completely, her silence speaking volumes. Jasmine stayed quiet too, but whispers spread that she was planning a tell-all interview. Kirk remained holed up, his reputation shredded, his future uncertain. And then, the unthinkable happened. TMZ dropped an exclusive audio recording, allegedly of Kirk's voice, confessing to one of his friends that the DNA test was real and that Jasmine's baby was indeed his. Man, I messed up again, the voice said. I don't know how to fix this one. Rashida's gone for good this time. The recording went viral instantly, fans reposting it everywhere. It's over for Kirk, they said. This man just confessed. The Frost empire that once seemed unshakable now looked like ruins scattered across the internet. But the biggest twist came days later. Jasmine finally broke her silence with a live interview. Dressed in white, her makeup flawless, she looked into the camera with tears glistening in her eyes. I never wanted this to happen, she said softly. I never wanted to be the reason a family fell apart. But the truth had to come out. I was tired of hiding. I was tired of being called a liar. And now the world knows the truth. Kirk is the father. And that's all I'll say. The interview shattered whatever was left of Kirk's defense. Fans who had once doubted Jasmine now rallied behind her, calling her brave for speaking her truth. Others remained skeptical, insisting she was manipulating the moment for clout. But no matter the opinions, one fact remained. The Frost family was broken beyond repair. Rashida resurfaced days later, posting a single picture of herself without her wedding ring. The caption read, "Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that save you." The internet erupted. It's official. She's done with Kirk. Fans screamed. Queen energy. As the dust settled, Kirk found himself alone, his empire crumbling, his name forever tied to scandal. Jasmine stood tall, though scarred by the battle, while Rashida finally chose herself, walking away from years of betrayal. And through it all, the fans watched, shocked, divided, and hungry for the next chapter of the Frost saga. The fallout from Jasmine's interview was immediate and brutal. Atlanta woke up to headlines screaming Kirk Frost exposed and Rashida walks away. The Frost name, once attached to music, style, and a brand that seemed unshakable, was now tangled in betrayal, lies, and DNA receipts. Gossip blogs refreshed their feeds every hour, milking the scandal for every possible angle. Rashida tried to move quietly, but her every step was followed. Cameras caught her leaving her boutique without her ring. Fans flooded her with hugs in public, shouting words of encouragement. "We got you, Queen," one woman yelled as Rashida held her head high, though her eyes betrayed the storm raging inside. Kirk, meanwhile, was cornered. His phone rang non-stop, producers demanding statements, business partners threatening to cut ties, family members pleading for explanations. His children looked at him differently now, the trust between father and kids fractured by secrets too big to hide. Late at night, he sat alone in the kitchen of his empty house, whispering to himself, "How did I let it get this far?" The silence answered back. Jasmine, though she had the upper hand publicly, wasn't spared either. Fans stalked her social media, some calling her a homewrecker, others praising her for standing firm. Every photo she posted was dissected, every caption twisted into a headline. "Look at her smiling while Rashida's heart breaks," critics said. "She's only telling the truth," defenders replied. The battle lines were clear, the fanbase divided in two. Then came the legal angle. Kirk received a notice through his lawyer. Jasmine was filing for official child support, demanding a large monthly sum, now that the DNA test was undeniable. The news leaked almost immediately, sparking another wave of chaos. "She's cashing in," some shouted. "He should have thought about that before cheating," others countered. The courtroom drama was set to become the next chapter, and the whole world was invited to watch. Rashida's family stepped in, her mother going live to tear into Kirk. "He humiliated my daughter for years, and she kept forgiving him. But enough is enough. He don't deserve her loyalty. He don't deserve her love." The clip spread across every platform, with fans rallying behind the family's strength. At the same time, Kirk's defenders tried to spin the narrative. A close friend went live, claiming, "Y'all don't know the whole story. This DNA test stuff ain't as simple as it looks. People out here plotting on Kirk, trying to destroy him, but the damage was too deep." Every denial sounded like another lie, every defense another excuse. As the court date loomed, the tension spilled into the streets. Fans showed up outside the courthouse, waving posters, some shouting support for Jasmine, others chanting for Rashida. The media frenzy turned the trial into a circus, with reporters camping out for days just to capture the perfect sound. Inside the courtroom, the drama was unmatched. Jasmine sat at one table, her lawyer sharp and ready, while Kirk sat at the other, his face heavy with dread. Rashida refused to attend, unwilling to relive the humiliation in public. But her absence only fueled the narrative that she was truly done with Kirk. The judge called the case, and the details poured out. Jasmine's lawyer presented the DNA test, the texts, and the photos as evidence of Kirk's undeniable responsibility. Kirk's lawyer tried to argue tampering, but the judge's sharp tone cut through. "The science is clear. Mr. Frost, you are the father." Fans gasped outside as word spread. Kirk lowered his head, his shoulders sagging, the reality crashing down like a tidal wave. Jasmine, though victorious, wiped a tear from her eye, the weight of years of whispers finally vindicated. The ruling was swift. Kirk would pay a heavy sum in child support, backdated to the baby's birth. The crowd erupted, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Kirk shoved past the chaos, muttering, "I can't do this," as security pushed him through the crowd. Rashida watched it all unfold from home, her phone buzzing nonstop with updates. She closed her eyes, whispering, "It's really over. It's finally over." Her voice was steady, but the pain was carved into her expression. As the dust settled, new cracks appeared in friendships. Mimi blasted Kirk publicly, saying, "Men like him never change, and it's time we stop giving them passes." Carly Red doubled down, posting a cryptic video laughing into the camera. Captioned, "What's done in the dark always comes to light." Fans dragged her for being messy, but others praised her for calling it like it is. Yandi weighed in too, siding with Rashida, her words filled with empathy. "Women deserve better. Our worth isn't tied to how much humiliation we can survive. It's tied to how much humiliation we can survive. It's tied to our strength. And Rashida has shown more strength than most." The post went viral, cementing the public's view of Rashida as a queen rising from the ashes. But Kirk wasn't ready to disappear. Weeks later, he sat down for his own interview, desperate to salvage what little of his image was left. His face looked worn, his voice cracked as he spoke. "I made mistakes. I hurt the woman I love, and I can't take that back. But I'm not the monster people think I am. I want to do right by my kids, by my family. I just want a chance to fix things." The clip spread quickly, but instead of sympathy, most fans responded with outrage. "Too late," they wrote. "Rashida deserves better." The scandal grew even deeper when another woman suddenly came forward, claiming she too had a child by Kirk. Though the claim was unverified, the timing was explosive. Blogs feasted on the story, plastering headlines like Kirk Frost's secret children across their sites. Fans groaned, "Not again," while others said, "We knew there was more." Kirk denied it furiously, calling it a lie, but the whispers wouldn't stop. Rashida, meanwhile, embraced her new chapter. She posted photos of herself traveling, smiling with friends, her captions full of strength. "Peace looks good on me," one post read, racking up millions of likes. The fans roared in support, many calling her the true winner of the saga. Jasmine, though satisfied by the court ruling, found herself haunted by the chaos. She admitted in a later live that the backlash had taken a toll. "Y'all don't understand what it's like to live under this microscope," she said, tears falling. "I never wanted it to be this way. I just wanted the truth to be known." Her vulnerability earned her some sympathy, though others still labeled her as the villain. The Frost saga had become bigger than the show, bigger than the city of Atlanta. It was a cultural storm, a spectacle that blurred the line between entertainment and tragedy. And though the story seemed to finally settle, fans whispered that more secrets were still buried, waiting to explode. Then came the final twist. An anonymous source sent emails to several gossip blogs, claiming to have video evidence of Kirk admitting to paying off someone to bury another DNA test years ago. The blogs teased the footage, promising to release it soon. The internet braced itself for yet another explosion. The cycle of betrayal and scandal threatening to spiral once again. Kirk sat in his car the night the rumors hit, staring at the city lights, his reflection in the window, a man broken and unrecognizable. "Maybe they're right," he whispered. "Maybe I don't deserve her. Maybe I don't deserve any of this." His voice cracked, the weight of years of lies pressing down on him. And across town, Rashida smiled softly to herself, surrounded by friends, her phone buzzing with messages of love and support. For the first time in years, her laughter sounded free, untethered from the chains of betrayal. The Frost Empire was fractured, the family divided, but in the ashes, a new story was beginning to take shape, one of endings, new beginnings, and a legacy forever marked by scandal. The whispers about the mysterious video turned into a storm overnight. Gossip blogs teased it with captions like "the Frost cover-up and video that will end Kirk forever." Fans flooded the comments, begging for the drop, speculating about what Kirk might have said, debating whether the footage was real or fabricated. Hashtags exploded again. Hashtag Frost tapes. Hashtag Kirk guilty. Hashtag RASHEED, free. Then, just past midnight, the video surfaced. Grainy, shaky, clearly recorded without Kirk's knowledge. He sat in what looked like a dimly lit bar, talking to a man whose face was out of frame. His voice was unmistakable. "Man, I had to pay her off. I couldn't let another DNA test hit the surface. Rashida would have left me for good back then. I bought her silence. That's what I did." The words were devastating, brutal, and final. Fans were shocked, the internet breaking under the weight of the leak. He admitted it. People screamed online. This man been lying for years. Emotions ran high. The family was left divided once again, and the Frost legacy seemed destroyed beyond repair. Rashida saw the video while surrounded by friends. Her body went cold, the laughter in the room dying instantly. She pressed her hand against her chest, gasping as if the air had been stolen. "So it was true all along," she whispered, her voice cracking. Her friends tried to comfort her, but nothing could soothe the wound of knowing her husband had not only betrayed her but also manipulated the truth for years. Across town, Kirk's phone lit up with hundreds of notifications as the video spread. He threw it across the room, his voice breaking into a roar. "They set me up. Somebody set me up." But even he knew, deep down, that the damage was irreversible. His denial would never erase the sound of his own voice, spilling the secret. Jasmine watched quietly from her apartment, her baby asleep in the next room. She bit her lip, tears sliding down her cheeks. "So he admitted it. He really admitted it," she whispered, her body shaking. For years she had been called a liar, accused of clout chasing, dragged through the mud. But now, The world had the proof. The producers of Love and Hip Hop seized the opportunity, setting up yet another sit-down. This time, it was different. The energy was darker, heavier, like the closing act of a tragedy. When the cast gathered, the tension was suffocating. Rashida walked in first, her posture tall, her face unreadable. She wore no ring, her outfit sharp, every detail signaling strength. Jasmine entered second, holding her head high but with a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. Kirk was last, his shoulders slumped, his face carrying the weight of every exposed lie. The producers wasted no time. They played the leaked video on the big screen. Kirk's voice filled the room, confessing, admitting, destroying. Rashida's lips trembled, but she kept her composure, staring straight ahead. Jasmine folded her arms, her eyes wet but fierce. You bought her silence. Rashida finally spoke, her voice shaking but strong. How many others? Kirk, how many times did you make me the fool while you cleaned up your mess with Cash? Kirk's face twisted with pain. It wasn't like that. I was desperate. I didn't want to lose you. I thought if I could bury it, we could be happy. Rashida snapped, her voice like thunder. Bury it? You buried the truth. You buried me. You buried every ounce of trust we ever had. You didn't save us, Kirk. You killed us. The room fell silent. Even the producers didn't dare interrupt. The weight of Rashida's words hung heavy, crushing. Jasmine finally spoke, her tone sharp. You made me out to be the villain for years. You let the world tear me apart while you hid behind lies. Do you know what that did to me? To my child? You don't get to play the victim anymore. You ruined us both. Kirk dropped his head into his hands, his body shaking. I was wrong. I was wrong about everything. I can't fix this. I can't undo it. Rashida stood slowly, her eyes blazing. You're right about one thing, you can't fix it. And you can't undo me. I'm done. Kirk, I'm done being your shield, your excuse, your victim. I'm choosing me this time. The cast gasped. Fans outside screamed as the news broke, and the producers knew they had just captured television history. Rashida had finally closed the chapter. Not with tears, but with fire. The fallout was immediate. Blogs ran the headline, Rashida leaves Kirk for good. Fans celebrated her strength, flooding her comments with crowns and hearts. Celebrities reposted her speech, calling it iconic, legendary, a moment that would be remembered forever. Kirk, on the other hand, was left in ruins. His businesses took a hit, sponsors pulled out, and his reputation was in shambles. His friends distanced themselves, unwilling to be dragged down with him. The man who once prided himself on control now had none, his empire crumbling piece by piece. Jasmine tried to rebuild quietly, focusing on her child, though the media wouldn't let her go. Every move she made was followed, every smile judged, every silence criticized. Still, she stood tall, reminding the world, the truth doesn't need defending. Rashida embraced her freedom, her energy radiant. She launched new projects, expanding her brand, her image stronger than ever. Interviews painted her as the survivor, the queen who walked through fire and came out untouchable. Fans hailed her as an inspiration, a symbol of strength in the face of betrayal. But even as the story seemed to end, whispers of more secrets lingered, rumors of other women, other cover-ups, other buried truths. Kirk tried to deny them, but nobody believed him anymore. His words carried no weight, his promises hollow echoes in the ruins of his legacy. In the quiet of his empty home, Kirk sat alone, staring at old photos of his family. His tears fell freely, his whispers breaking the silence. I lost everything. I lost her. I lost them all. And across town, Rashida smiled softly at her reflection, whispering, I found myself. The Frost saga was over in one sense, but its echoes would never die. Fans still debated online, still dissected every detail, still argued over who was to blame. The story had transcended television, becoming legend, a cautionary tale of betrayal, truth, and the cost of secrets. Months passed after the leaked video, and the Frost family saga refused to fade from headlines. Every talk show, every podcast, every gossip blog still dissected it, turning every move Rashida, Jasmine, or Kirk made into a spectacle. Atlanta was buzzing like never before, and though the cameras had stopped rolling, the drama lived on in real life. Rashida became the face of resilience. Her boutique flourished, sales skyrocketed as fans lined up not just for clothes, but to stand in the presence of the woman who walked away from years of humiliation with her head held high. Interviews flooded her calendar, each one painting her as the heroine of the saga. She spoke carefully, never dragging Kirk's name through the mud, but her silences were louder than insults. Sometimes silence is the loudest truth, she told one interviewer. and fans turned her quote into memes, merchandise, and viral posts. Kirk, on the other hand, sank deeper into shadows. Former business partners cut ties, brand deals collapsed, and his name became synonymous with scandal. He tried to stage a comeback, posting apologies online, but the comments section was merciless. Too late, they wrote. We believed you once, never again. Every live he started was bombarded with snake emojis. Every song he tried to release drowned in mockery. Alone in hotel rooms, Kirk scribbled notes. Desperate to tell his side of the story, he planned a memoir, hoping to explain, to justify, to reclaim dignity. But publishers hesitated, afraid the backlash would outweigh the sales. His friends urged him to disappear quietly, but Kirk couldn't let go. I need them to hear me, he told himself, pacing back and forth. I need Rashida to hear me. Jasmine lived in a strange limbo. The court case had given her financial stability. The DNA test had vindicated her. But the stigma never left. Every club appearance, every photo, every post was dragged into the Frost narrative. People called her both survivor and villain, truth-teller and homewrecker. She grew tired of the noise, tired of being defined by one scandal. Late at night, she rocked her child to sleep, whispering, "One day, they'll see me for who I am. Not just for what happened." The Frost children weren't spared either. Rumors swirled about their reactions, blogs speculating about their pain. Fans debated endlessly, were they angry at Kirk, or had they forgiven him privately? Nobody knew for sure, but everyone had an opinion. A year later, the show's producers announced a reunion special. Fans lost their minds at the announcement. Would Rashida face Kirk? Would Jasmine finally reveal everything? Would the mysterious other woman rumors surface again? The hype was unreal. The stage was set. Rashida entered first, glowing, her confidence unshakable. Jasmine followed, softer this time, dressed in muted tones, her expression calm. Then Kirk walked in, the audience gasping. His face was older, more tired, like a man carrying boulders on his back. The host wasted no time. Kirk, the world has heard the tapes, seen the receipts, and watched the fallout. What do you want to say now? Kirk's eyes glistened as he leaned forward. I want to say I'm sorry. To Rashida, to my family, to Jasmine, to the fans. I was a coward. I thought hiding the truth would protect the people I love, but all it did was destroy them. I can't change the past, but I want to spend the rest of my life trying to make amends. Rashida's gaze was steady, her voice calm. Apologies don't rebuild trust. Actions do. And I've seen enough of your actions to know I'm better without them. The audience erupted in applause, fans shouting her name. Jasmine nodded slowly. I didn't want destruction. I wanted honesty. I wanted my child to grow up knowing who his father is. That's it. But instead, we all got dragged through hell. Her voice trembled but carried power. The reunion turned emotional, tears falling, voices cracking. But one thing became clear: Rashida had moved on. Jasmine had spoken her truth, and Kirk was left in the ruins of his own making. Still, Kirk refused to vanish. Months after the reunion, he announced a tell-all documentary, claiming he had new truths to reveal. Fans were divided. Some rolled their eyes, others tuned in out of morbid curiosity. The premiere trended instantly, clips circulating online before the episode even ended. In it, Kirk revealed names, nights, and secrets long buried. He admitted 2 affairs, 2 cover-ups, 2 payoffs, his voice raw, his eyes wet. I thought I was protecting my family, he confessed, but I was only protecting myself. The backlash was immediate. He's just doing this for clout, fans wrote. Rashida already won. Nothing he says matters now. But some viewers admitted the vulnerability moved them. He looks like a broken man, one tweeted. Maybe he finally gets it. Rashida paid no mind. She was too busy building her empire, expanding her brand into skincare, opening a new boutique, smiling on red carpets. She thrived, her glow undeniable. In one interview, she summed it up perfectly. Pain doesn't break queens, it builds them. Jasmine took a quieter route. She stepped back from the spotlight, focusing on motherhood, occasionally posting soft glimpses of her life. Fans debated endlessly whether she and Kirk still communicated behind the scenes. But Jasmine never confirmed nor denied, leaving the speculation to swirl endlessly. Kirk tried one last attempt at redemption, hosting a charity event, promising all proceeds would go to single mothers and children. But even that was met with skepticism. He's just doing this to fix his image, fans snapped. Still, the event sold out, the cameras rolled, and Kirk smiled weakly into the flashes, a man trying desperately to rewrite his ending. Yet despite everything, the Frost saga refused to die. Every anniversary of the DNA leak brought new memes, new debates, new arguments online. Fans still shouted Team Rashida in comments. Others quietly defended Kirk. While a small but loyal group stood by Jasmine, the drama had become legend, etched into the culture forever. And in the quiet moments, when the cameras were gone and the crowds had faded, Rashida would look out at the Atlanta skyline, her heart calm at last. Kirk would stare at old photos, whispering regrets into the silence. Jasmine would kiss her child goodnight, whispering promises of a better future. The Frost family saga was no longer just a scandal. It was a story of betrayal, resilience, and survival, a story fans would never forget, a cautionary tale of love, lies, and the heavy price of secrets. The Frost saga may feel like it has reached its final chapter, but for fans, the questions are louder than ever. Is Kirk truly finished? Or will he somehow claw his way back into the spotlight with another confession or stunt? Will Rashida's journey of self-power and independence inspire millions to walk away from their own toxic situations? Or will the weight of the past still haunt her? And Jasmine, caught between vindication and judgment, will she ever escape the shadow of scandal? Or will her name forever be tied to one of the most explosive DNA dramas reality television has ever seen? Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. But the story doesn't end when the cameras stop rolling. Every leaked message, every teardrop, every defiant word from Rashida, every shaky denial from Kirk, every quiet truth from Jasmine has carved itself into the culture. It's not just a show anymore, it's a legacy, one that people will remember, debate, and argue over for years. And that's where you come in, because now, it's your turn to weigh in on the chaos. Do you believe Kirk has told the full truth at last? Or are there still skeletons waiting to crawl out of his closet? Do you think Rashida has finally found the freedom she deserves? Or is there a chance she and Kirk could ever rebuild what was broken? And what about Jasmine? Is she the ultimate truth-teller who fought for her child? Or a master of timing who knew how to play the game better than anyone? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this isn't just a story we tell, it's a conversation we create together. Your opinion matters, your theories matter, your voice matters. We want to hear everything. Whose side are you on? What shocked you the most? And what do you think comes next in the Frost saga? And if you've made it this far, you already know the drama doesn't sleep, and neither do we. So make sure you hit that like button if you were glued to every twist. Smash that subscribe if you don't want to miss the next chapter in Atlanta's most jaw-dropping drama. And turn on your notifications so you're the first to know when the next secret drops. Remember, in this world, loyalty is tested, betrayal is exposed, and receipts always surface. Nothing stays hidden forever. Not the truth, not the lies, not even the DNA. So stay tuned, stay ready, and stay loud. Because this story isn't just entertainment, it's a reminder that reality is often messier, wilder, and more unforgiving than fiction. So tell us now, are you Team Rashida, Team Jasmine, or still somehow Team Kirk? The battle lines are drawn, the fans are divided, and your voice could be the one that tips the scales. This has been one of the most unforgettable sagas in reality TV history. One of the most unforgettable sagas in reality TV history. And it's only just the beginning. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going. Because when it comes to the Frost family, one thing is certain, the drama never ends. Atlanta's nights had never felt heavier, never more suffocating than in the weeks after the leaked Frost tapes shattered what little remained of Kirk's reputation. Fans still replayed the clip endlessly. The audio of his shaky voice confessing to burying DNA truth looping across timelines like a curse. Every replay was another dagger in Rashida's chest. Every meme another weight dragging Kirk further down into the abyss of public disgrace. The city buzzed with whispers. The blogs printed headline after headline. And the Frost name, which once commanded respect, now became shorthand for betrayal. Rashida found herself unable to escape the constant reminders. She would walk into her boutique, greeted by loyal customers with warm smiles. But even in their kindness, she felt the pity hiding behind their eyes. Friends rallied around her, praising her strength. Yet she heard the unspoken question in every voice. How much had she endured, and why had she endured it so long? At night, lying in bed without the familiar weight of her husband beside her, she wrestled with grief and rage. Her heart torn between mourning the love she had once known, and celebrating the freedom she had finally claimed. Kirk meanwhile drifted like a ghost, hollow-eyed beard, untrimmed. His once sharp suits replaced by hoodies and sweatpants. He avoided the clubs where he once reigned, avoided the studios that had built his legacy, avoided even his own reflection in the mirror. His phone never stopped buzzing, former friends demanding explanations, old associates cutting ties, journalists hungry for a new quote, a new soundbite, a new headline. Every call he ignored felt like another nail hammered into the coffin of the man he used to be. Jasmine, for her part, balanced uneasily on the razor's edge between vindication and scorn. Some fans praised her, calling her brave for standing firm through years of denial. Others hurled venom, branding her a destroyer, a scandal chaser, a woman who thrived on chaos. She kept her head down most days, focusing on her child. Her eyes weary as she rocked the baby to sleep with lullabies that masked the storm brewing in her heart. But even in her silence, even in her absence, her name was never out of the headlines. When the network announced a follow-up reunion special, the internet lost its mind. Everyone wanted to know, would Rashida and Kirk face each other again under the bright lights? Would Jasmine confront Kirk one last time, now that his voice had confessed what the DNA had already confirmed? Would new secrets spill, secrets darker and deeper than any already revealed? Fans camped outside the studio days before taping, clutching posters, chanting names, drawing battle lines between Team Rashida and Team Jasmine while Kirk's name was drowned out in boos. The reunion began with a silence so thick it was almost suffocating. Rashida sat regal, radiant, in a deep red dress that screamed both warning and power. Jasmine entered more subdued, dressed in soft tones, but her eyes glistened with unspoken truths. Kirk followed last, shoulders sagging, each step heavier than the last, his body language screaming of a man already condemned. The host wasted no time, playing the leaked tape once again on a giant screen. Kirk's words echoing through the studio like thunder. I had to pay her off. I couldn't let another DNA test hit the surface. The audience gasped though they had heard it before. The cast members shifted in their seats, and Rashida's lips trembled but she did not flinch. What do you have to say for yourself? The host asked, voice sharp, eyes locked on Kirk. Kirk swallowed hard, his voice breaking as he spoke. I was wrong. I was weak. I was scared of losing everything I loved, so I thought if I buried the truth, I could keep my family together. But I see now that all I did was destroy the very thing I was trying to protect. Rashida's eyes burned holes through him. You didn't protect us. You protected yourself. Every time I forgave you, every time I stood by you, I thought it was for our family. But you were cashing in our trust like chips at a casino. You gambled with me, with our children, with everything we built, and you lost. The room fell still, everyone watching as her voice cracked under the weight of her fury. I gave you loyalty. I gave you forgiveness. I gave you love, and all you gave me was humiliation. I don't even recognize the man sitting in front of me anymore. Jasmine finally leaned forward, her voice trembling but fierce. You let me be torn apart, Kirk. For years, you let the world call me a liar while you sat quiet, knowing the truth. You could have ended it with one sentence, but you let me burn so you could stay comfortable. You ruined my name, my peace, my chance at a normal life. And for what? For pride, for image, for money. Her words hung heavy in the air, her tears rolling freely now. Kirk buried his face in his hands, his shoulders shaking. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry to both of you. I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't know how to be without the lies anymore. The cast gasped at his broken honesty. Fans outside screamed through the studio walls, and the internet lit up with live tweets. This is the end, one wrote. Rashida's done, Jasmine's vindicated, Kirk's destroyed. Others argued. He finally admitted everything, but is it too late? As the reunion dragged on, the energy shifted from rage to sorrow. Mimi spoke softly, her voice cutting through. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But healing doesn't come from waiting on their change. It comes from choosing ourselves. Her words made Rashida's eyes soften, made Jasmine's lips tremble, made Kirk look smaller than he had ever looked before. The taping ended with no reconciliation, no hugs, no promises of rebuilding. Rashida walked out first, head high, her red dress blazing like a flame that could not be extinguished. Jasmine followed, her tears drying into determination. Kirk was last, his slow steps echoing in the emptying studio. A man who had lost everything because of the weight of his own lies. Outside, fans erupted, some cheering Rashida's strength, others praising Jasmine's resilience, most condemning Kirk's downfall. The sidewalks became battlegrounds of opinion, with chants of Queen Rashida and justice for Jasmine clashing in the night. The family was left divided, the fans were left divided, and the saga carved itself deeper into Atlanta's history. Months later, Rashida thrived. She expanded her boutiques, launched a skincare line, graced magazine covers as the embodiment of strength and survival. Every photo shoot radiated freedom, every interview glowed with wisdom born from pain. Pain doesn't break me, she said in one feature. Pain builds me. Jasmine retreated into quiet, focusing on motherhood, occasionally surfacing with candid posts about healing and resilience. Her supporters grew louder, praising her honesty, while her critics slowly lost their grip as time proved her truths undeniable. Kirk, though, drifted further into obscurity. His attempts at charity events, at apologies, at tell-alls, never quite stuck. The public had already sentenced him, and there was no appeal strong enough to overturn the verdict of millions of fans who had once cheered for him. Alone, he scrolled through old photos of his family, whispering apologies into the empty rooms, hoping the echoes might somehow reach the people who no longer listened. And still, the saga refused to fade. Every anniversary of the DNA leak, fans resurrected the memes, replayed the tapes, debated the choices, reignited the arguments. The Frost story had become legend, a cautionary tale of betrayal, lies, and the cost of burying truth. It transcended reality TV. It etched itself into culture. It became the story parents whispered to daughters about the price of loyalty and the power of Rashida looked at the Atlanta skyline one night, the city lights glittering like jewels. She breathed deeply, free at last, her heart whispering, "I choose me." Jasmine kissed her child, whispering promises of a brighter future. Kirk sat alone, the weight of silence his only company, whispering regrets that no one would ever hear. The Frost Empire had collapsed, but from its ashes, new stories of strength, truth, and survival rose. And fans, forever shocked, forever invested, knew one thing for sure. In this world, secrets always surface, receipts always leak, and drama never dies. Atlanta's heat pressed against the sidewalks like a secret trying to escape as the Frost story marched forward, refusing to fade even when the cameras turned away. The city had learned to live with the whispers, to schedule its nights around fresh drops, to brace when the blogs hinted that something new was coming. And then it came, a ripple hitting every phone at once. A private mediation had been scheduled, off camera, no producers allowed, only lawyers, a retired judge, and 3 people whose names could raise the temperature of a room just by appearing on a calendar. The invite list said it all: Rashida, Jasmine, and Kirk. Rashida arrived first, early like always, the habit of a leader who no longer needed to prove anything. She carried a notebook and a quiet resolve, the kind that frightens people who expect tears. Jasmine came next, hair pulled back, eyes clear, a mother on business. Kirk entered last, turning the doorknob as if it might judge him, shoulders angled like he wanted to apologize to the hallway before he faced the people he had hurt. No cameras. Number. People he had hurt. No cameras. Number. Reunion stage. Only a long table, ice water, pens, and the kind of silence that forces truth to sit upright. The mediator spoke softly, set ground rules, asked for patience, asked for clarity. No shouting, no interruptions, no grandstanding. The goal was structure, schedules, boundaries, the calendar of a life that must function whether hearts agreed or not. For a time, it worked. Voices stayed measured. Attorneys traded clauses. Jasmine outlined what her child needed with the precision of a woman who had memorized every pediatric appointment, every bank notification, every sleepless night. Rashida limited herself to logistics, careful to keep her sentences clean of old pain. Kirk kept saying yes, yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll send it on time. Yes, I understand. Then the mediator asked for a reset break, and the quiet cracked. Kirk leaned forward, palms flat on the table. His voice was small but naked. "Thank you," he said to both women, and the 2 words scraped the room raw. "I don't deserve any seat here, but thank you for letting me sit at this one." Jasmine didn't blink. "You don't get points for showing up," she said. "Not cruel, just finished. You get points for not disappearing when it isn't convenient." Rashida didn't turn her head. "You'll keep to the schedule," she said, calm as a verdict. "You'll keep to the truth." The break ended. Pens resumed. Clocks moved. Agreements took shape like scaffolding around a damaged building strong enough to save. And when they stepped into the hall, a door near the elevators clicked shut too fast to be coincidence. Outside, a car engine revved. By sunset, 3 separate accounts posted the same blurry photos of the trio leaving the suite, and the caption became a drumline: "Peace talks." The city spun out. Fans argued in comments with the stamina of athletes. Some called it closure, others called it strategy. Still others insisted it was the prelude to a surprise reconciliation. But reconciliation isn't always romance. Sometimes it's a signed document with legal teeth and a buzzer on your phone that reminds you Thursday is your day to pick up, your day to pay, your day to keep a promise you should never have broken. Nights later, a charity gala lit up Midtown, all glass and gold and murmured names. Atlanta loves a room where success clinks against crystal, and this room was a bell tower. Rashida stepped in on the arm of a business partner, laughter warm, posture tall. Jasmine arrived with a small circle, stylists, a publicist, a cousin who doesn't flinch at flashbulbs. Kirk came alone, hugged by the suit he chose like armor. They didn't plan to share a frame, but cameras choreographed their own fate. The moment found them near the silent auction, three paths colliding by a painting of the skyline. A hush fell the way it does when a DJ accidentally kills the bass. Rashida nodded once. Jasmine's chin tilted a fraction. Kirk's breath stalled. And then the unexpected. A donor's child, small and brave, walked up with a program and a marker. "Can you sign this?" she asked. "For my mom. She says you're strong." She meant Rashida. But she looked at Jasmine too and didn't pull the paper away. "And you," she added, "for telling the truth." Then the child glanced at Kirk without judgment because children don't understand legend yet. "And you, so you try harder." The room exhaled in one piece. The three signatures landed side by side. Phones rose. No one shouted. No one ran. The photo hit the internet like rain on hot pavement. Steam, hiss, relief, debate. By morning think pieces stacked like magazines in a barbershop. "Forgiveness is a door," some wrote. "Forgiveness is a lock," others countered. And a quiet choir said a simpler thing. "Forgiveness isn't the headline. Pattern is." Atlanta went to work because Atlanta always does. The show wanted another special. The network pitched angles, floated formats, dangled budgets. The pitch that stuck was clinical. Not a reunion, a reckoning. A roundtable moderated by someone with questions that didn't care about ratings. They filmed in a room without neon. No logo wall. No reaction cutaways. Just chairs, water, tissues that remained folded. The moderator began with dates and documents, not rumors. "This is what happened when," she said. "This is who paid what. This is who signed where. This is who said yes or no." Then she turned to patterns. Two choices, to the currency of attention and the mortgage payment of shame. She asked Jasmine what it costs to be right in a world that pays more for doubt. She asked Rashida how a heart puts itself back on a calendar. She asked Kirk what word he would put on a mirror so he wouldn't forget it. Jasmine said sleep. "I want it for my child. I want it for me." Sleep without waking to a notification that steals your stomach. Rashida said receipts. Not the internet ones. The ones you keep for yourself that say "I didn't abandon me." Kirk said stop. He said it twice. The second time didn't shake. Midway through, the moderator did the dangerous thing. She left the table and put the three chairs on a slow turn. There was no one else in the circle. Number friends to jump in. No cast to redirect. No music to swell. The rotation forced each to face each other, then themselves, then the empty air where audiences sometimes sit inside us. Jasmine inhaled and let it go. Rashida's fingers traced a ring she no longer wore. Kirk held his breath too long and had to cough. It was not dramatic. It was simply human, which is rarer on camera than tears. When the episode aired, the numbers were huge, but the noise was smaller. Comments said words like growth and boundaries. A few said boring because peace looks quiet if you're addicted to sirens. But the city felt lighter by inches. Group chats sent fewer screenshots. The mysterious accounts that once thrived on chaos posted about sneakers again. And then, as always, the past tested the present. A podcast clipped an old voicemail. Someone laughing. Someone saying let it blow. It'll sell. The clip was cut to imply strategy where there may have been exhaustion. It trended for 6 hours. Then a former producer spoke on the record with names and calendar invites and emails that told a fuller story. The clip shrank. 6 hours used to be a scandal's lifetime. Now it was a nap. Kirk took a job most people didn't notice. Program coordinator for a youth music initiative funded by people who still believe instruments are better than inboxes. He wasn't the face. He rolled cables, tuned guitars, taught kids to label files. He didn't post about it often. Sometimes someone's aunt would share a photo of a school gym with a caption that mentioned his name. Not as a headline, as a thank you for showing up on Wednesday. The comments were kinder there. You could almost watch a reputation relearning how to walk. Jasmine launched a small foundation that paid for childcare hours during court appointments. New gala, new velvet rope, flyers at clinics, a phone number that got answered, a mom who said I can take this shift now because someone watched my baby for 2 hours, while I signed the papers that keep us safe. She didn't attach her full name to the website. People found out anyway. They always do. The press called. She said no twice, yes once, and gave quotes that were about logistics and dignity, not villains. Rashida expanded a flagship store by 2 dressing rooms and a back office with a door that closed more softly than the old one. She hired a manager whose laugh customers came back for. She started blocking certain words in her comments, not because she couldn't take them, because she didn't have to. A magazine wanted a cover declaring her a phoenix. She said the metaphor was wrong. "I'm not ash and flame," she told the writer. "I'm routine." The piece ran with the headline, "Discipline looks like glamour from far away." One autumn night, the 3 of them ended up at the same high school auditorium, a senior showcase, the kind of program that makes a stage smell like fresh paint and borrowed cologne. They sat in different rows, Jasmine in the middle, Rashida near the aisle, Kirk under the balcony. A kid sang off-key and the whole room loved him anyway. A girl read a poem that made everybody forget their phones for 3 minutes. During a drumline piece, the lights brushed across the audience and found the 3 faces. No one booed. No one clapped. The lights moved on. Later, outside, under a street lamp that hummed like an old song, they crossed paths near the curb. Jasmine nodded. Small. Rashida smiled a fraction. The kind that is not an invitation and not a rejection. Kirk tipped his chin once as if to say the only word he can. Kirk tipped his chin once as if to say the only word he can afford now. Good night. A bus pulled up. Teenagers piled on with cymbals and snack wrappers and the adrenaline of applause that feels like a future. The 3 adults stepped back to give them space. And in that step there was something like a truce that doesn't need witnesses. The blogs would still flare sometimes. A caption would misread a glance. An algorithm would remember a hashtag and ask the city to argue again. The city would, for an hour or a weekend. Then the algorithm would get bored, and the city would go back to babysitters and invoices and the complicated mercy of forgetting. One last rumor tried to catch a screenshot of a message that said "Meet me, same hotel." No cameras. It had a battery icon that didn't match the phone model. It had a time zone glitch. Fans are better investigators than the internet gives them credit for. The comments dismantled it gently, like a bomb squad for tired narratives. By noon, the screenshot was just another JPEG in someone's downloads folder. Nameless. Time did what time does when people let it. It layered new dust over old glass. It let laughter return without apology. It turned court dates into calendar anniversaries that no one posted about. And it left a stain. Yes. But stains become part of the fabric if you keep wearing the garment. You stop calling it damaged. You call it yours. Atlanta's heat broke one evening with a rain that smelled like tin and rescue. The city steamed and cooled. Inside a quiet kitchen, a woman set out 3 plates and texted, "Running late, but I'm coming." Across town, a man turned off a studio light and left it off. In a small room lit by a plug-in night sky, a child rolled over, caught the corner of a blanket, and kept sleeping. Fans are shocked becomes fans remember becomes fans move on. Emotions ran high becomes emotions found level. The family was left divided becomes the family learned how to stand in the same parking lot and say the right words in the right order at the right time of day. And somewhere, just past midnight, a draft sat open on a blogger's laptop, a spicy headline blinking like a dare. The cursor waited. The blogger read it back, sighed, hit delete, and wrote something else. Not because the saga ended, because the people inside it did not. The city, which had once rearranged its heartbeat to match the rhythm of leaks, started keeping regular hours again. Doors locked at 10. Alarms armed. Inboxes quiet. The past stayed where it belongs most days, ready to be studied if you need to learn from it. Not performed if you need to live past it. And if another siren rose somewhere, Atlanta listened, measured the pitch, and decided whether to dance, to run, or to sleep. That's how the Frost story moved into its next chapter without a trailer. Not redeemed, not erased, simply written in a smaller font that people still read when they get to that page, nod once, and keep going. The Frost saga has taken us through every emotion possible: shock, heartbreak, betrayal, strength, survival, and resilience. Fans are still reeling from the twists, still dissecting the receipts, still divided in their loyalties. Some stand with Rashida, praising her strength, calling her a queen who rose from the ashes of humiliation. Others defend Jasmine, insisting she was never the villain but the woman forced to fight for truth when no one else would. And then there are those who still wonder if Kirk, despite all the lies, might find some path to redemption. But here's the thing, this story is no longer just about 3 people in Atlanta. It's about all of us. It's about what happens when loyalty collides with betrayal, when love is stretched beyond breaking, when secrets finally spill into the light. It's about the cost of staying silent, the weight of forgiveness, and the courage it takes to walk away from something you once thought you could never live without. The fans are shocked because deep down, they see reflections of their own lives in this drama. Maybe not the cameras, maybe not the headlines, maybe not the DNA scandals, but the raw emotions, the tears, the arguments, the sleepless nights, the feeling of being torn between heart and dignity. Those are universal. That's why this saga resonates so deeply, why it's more than gossip, why it's bigger than television. So now the question is for you. Where do you stand after everything we've seen? Do you believe Kirk is truly finished? Or do you think people deserve endless chances no matter how badly they've failed? Do you believe Rashida has finally closed the book on him? Or is there a part of you that wonders if she'd be tempted to turn just one more page? And Jasmine, do you see her as the woman who finally pulled the truth into the light? Or do you still think she thrives too much in the spotlight of destruction? Drop your thoughts right now in the comments, because this isn't just a show you watch, this is a conversation you're part of. Every voice matters, every opinion adds fuel to the fire. Tell us, are you Team Rashida, Team Jasmine, or somehow, after all this, still Team Kirk? Explain why. Defend your side. Debate with other fans, because the family may be divided, but so are the viewers, and your voice is what keeps this story alive. And if you've been locked in from the start, if your jaw dropped at the DNA reveal, if your heart broke when Rashida walked out, if you gasped when Kirk's voice confessed on those leaked tapes, then you already know, you can't miss what comes next. So hit that like button right now to show you've been riding this roller coaster with us. Smash that subscribe button so you're part of this family that refuses to look away from the truth. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're the first to know when the next chapter drops. Because trust me, this saga isn't over. Not by a long shot. Remember, in this world, nothing stays buried forever. Not secrets, not betrayals, not DNA. Receipts always surface, lies always crack, and truth always finds its way out. And when it does, the shockwaves are louder, the emotions are higher, and the fans are more divided than ever before. You don't want to miss a second of it. So lean in, make your voice heard. Tell us whose side you're on. Tell us what you think is next. Tell us if you believe redemption is possible, or if some mistakes can never be forgiven. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, and keep the fire burning. Because the Frost family story may have shaken Atlanta, but the conversation belongs to you. This is your chance to be part of the legacy, your chance to keep the truth alive, your chance to join the community that never lets the drama die. So don't just watch, engage. Because at the end of the day, the story isn't complete without you.